The rain hammered against the windows of Marlon's diner as a man in a worn leather jacket stepped inside, water dripping from his hair. No one glanced twice at him. No one suspected that under the cheap clothes and tired expression was Ethan Reed, one of the youngest billionaires in the country, owner of the massive Reed Enterprises, and a man whose name usually dominated headlines. Tonight, however, he wasn't a billionaire. He was just hungry, tired, and desperate for one night of anonymity. He needed to breathe, needed to remember what real life felt like. The diner was nearly empty. A few truck drivers sat by the counter and an old couple shared coffee by the window. Ethan took a seat in the far corner booth. A waitress approached, her apron slightly frayed, her hair tied in a messy bun, her smile warm but exhausted. "Good evening," she said gently. "I'm Grace Miller. What can I get for you?" Her voice struck him. Soft, steady, kind. It was the kind of voice that made a stranger feel less alone. "Just a steak," Ethan replied, "medium well." She nodded, coming right up. Ethan watched her walk away, noticing the slight limp in her step and the shadows under her eyes. She looked like someone carrying secrets too heavy for her small frame. He came here to escape his problems, but Grace looked like she was drowning in her own. The steak arrived, steaming and perfectly cooked. Ethan thanked her and she smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. As she placed the plate on the table, a small folded note slipped from her palm and landed beside the steak. She didn't acknowledge it, didn't look back, just walked away. Ethan's brows furrowed. He unfolded the note slowly. "Please, I know who you are. I need your help. Don't react. Don't look at me. Just wait until after closing." His breath froze in his chest. She knew. He kept his expression calm and ate quietly, even as his mind raced. Why him? What danger was she in? And how long had she known? Across the diner, Grace continued her shift like nothing had happened. But Ethan noticed her hands trembling each time she refilled a cup or wiped a table. Something was very wrong. The hours crawled by until the clock struck midnight and the diner emptied. Grace locked the doors, turned the sign to closed, and approached his booth with a shaky breath. "Follow me," she whispered. She led him to the small storage room in the back. The air was heavy, filled with dust and the smell of old cardboard. Grace clasped her hands tightly, trying to steady herself. "I'm sorry for the note," she said softly. "I didn't know what else to do." Ethan's voice was calm. "Tell me what's going on." Grace took a deep breath, then everything poured out. "My little brother Caleb is sick, very sick. He needs a surgery that I can't afford, not even in my dreams. I've taken extra shifts, sold everything I have, worked until I could barely stand." Tears filled her eyes, but she held them back with quiet dignity. "2 weeks ago, I found out about you. The news said you were in town for some business deal. Then I saw you walk in tonight. I recognized you from an interview." She swallowed hard. "I didn't want to beg in front of everyone. I didn't want to embarrass you or myself. But Caleb, he doesn't have much time." Ethan's chest tightened. This wasn't someone trying to exploit him. This was a sister fighting for the only family she had left. "Why didn't you ask openly?" he asked gently. "Because people look at me and think I just want money," she whispered. "But I don't want your money. I want my brother's life." For the first time in years, something inside Ethan cracked open. He remembered the night he lost his own mother, how helpless he felt, how he would have given anything to rewrite that night. He couldn't change his past, but he could change hers. "Grace," he said softly, "I'm going to help you." She shook her head quickly. "Ethan, I didn't mean to pressure." "You're not pressuring me." His voice was firm. "You're doing what any brave sister would, and I respect that more than anything." Grace stared at him, stunned. "But why would you help a stranger?" "Because you reminded me of someone I lost," he whispered. Her eyes softened. The next morning, Ethan drove Grace to the hospital. Doctors who avoided delays suddenly moved with urgency when they realized whose signature was on the documents. Caleb, pale but smiling weakly when he saw his sister, squeezed her hand. "Grace, you didn't have to." "I did," she whispered. "I always will." Ethan stood back, giving them space. Watching them felt like watching a second chance he never had. Within a week, Caleb underwent surgery. Successful, life-saving, miraculous. Grace cried in Ethan's arms when the doctor told her the good news. Thank you so much," she sobbed. "I can never repay you." "You don't have to repay anything," Ethan said softly. "Just promise you'll take care of him, that's enough." But their story didn't end there. Grace insisted on returning to work, refusing to quit just because she had received help. Ethan visited the diner often, first to check on her, then because he wanted to see her smile again, this time without the weight of fear. He found himself laughing more, feeling more, living more. One evening, as the sun dipped low and cast golden light across the diner, Grace approached him. "Why do you still come here?" she asked with a shy smile. "Because the food is amazing," he teased. She rolled her eyes. "Ethan." He held her gaze, letting the silence speak before he answered. "Because this place feels like home, because you do." Grace's eyes glistened, not with sadness this time, but with something brighter. Hope. Challenges they faced. Grace's financial struggle to save her brother, while working multiple jobs. Ethan's emotional isolation, burdened by his past and his desire to live like a normal man. Grace's fear of judgment and rejection, torn between pride and desperation. Ethan's internal conflict between staying undercover and stepping into her life openly. The fear of surgery, the uncertainty of Caleb's future. Learning to trust each other, despite coming from two very different worlds. Each challenge pushed them closer, strengthened their bond, and helped them see life through new eyes. Weeks later, Caleb returned home, healthy, joyful, and full of life again. Grace hugged Ethan outside the diner, the night air cool but comforting. "You didn't just save my brother," she whispered. "You saved me too." Ethan smiled. "Maybe you saved me first." Their fingers intertwined naturally, and in that moment, neither of them cared about money, status, or the past. What mattered was the journey that brought them together. The message. Sometimes God places the right person in our life at the exact moment we feel like giving up. Sometimes miracles don't come as bright lights, but as strangers in worn jackets. And sometimes, helping someone else becomes the very thing that heals us.